I used the bright red and I used this peachy color that pulls on a yellow. I burnished the two of them together to create this coral color on the face. Then I'm going to go back to just this peachy color, and I'm going to continue until I go back into my white highlighted areas, which I don't need anything for, okay? I picked my two blues, the sky blue for the lighter blues, the dusty kind of grayish light blue for the darker blues that I see on here. What else can I do? Okay, I'm going to have to do a brown belt, and I have two different values of brown. I have a lighter brown and a darker brown, but they look really similar. So for here, I might just find a brown, a chocolate brown that works for the leather on his belt, and I might just loosen up on how much pressure I put while I'm coloring with it, so that I can achieve the lighter and darker value of the brown here, okay? Because I'm looking at my pencil crayons, and right away, two kind of jump out at me. So this is the beauty of a 50+ set. You get all these kinds of shades of different colors. So I found a light brown. I found a harvest golden brown, which I think is gonna be too light. So I'm just going to put that one aside, okay? And then I also found a tan brown, okay? So interesting, because let's see if I could use the tan color for the lighter brown areas on here. Okay, so coloring with it, I mean, it's not perfect. It pulls on yellow a little bit too much for my liking, to be honest, okay? So let's put that one aside. I think I'm just going to have to work with my light brown, just my average light brown pencil crayon, okay? So if I press really hard with it, I'm actually, on the camera it seems a little bit lighter, but in person it actually seems like a pretty solid match to this color over here, okay? So I think I might just get away with using this. In the darker areas I might press very hard, and then in the lighter areas where I want the value to be lighter on the highlights of his pouch and his belt, okay, I might just, again, dull it down to the side. Just get a piece of scrap paper, dull it down so that it's a little bit dull, and then you can go back into your lighter areas, and it'll give you that really nice soft finish without any harsh lines appearing on your paper. Okay, see that? Nice and creamy and smooth and soft. This is using the same pencil crayon. I achieved this brown and this brown. You can achieve probably 2 or 3 values in between this one. This one's quite light and this one's really dark, right? Remember our value scales that we did on day 1? You can really push this pencil crayon and layer it, so you can get a bunch of different shades of it. But I think for the belt, that's what I'm going to do, because I can't find any other brown that kind of works to make those lighter values. I think I'm just gonna have to play around with this single pencil crayon to create all the different values of brown that I see here. Okay, so far I'm going to keep my peach with me. I'm going to keep my red orange with me. I'm going to keep my light dusty blue. I'm going to keep my sky blue, and I'm going to keep my light brown. Okay, these are the colors that work for me so far. The last thing on him that I require pencil crayons for is red. Okay, and I think I might actually just stick with that red-orange color, because he's got that kind of red, orangey finish to the red accessories on him, including his shield. I could also get away with just using a solid primary red. Okay, so let's see the difference. This is just basic red. It's not red orange, it's not light red, it's not cherry red, it's just basic Crayola red, okay? So let's see the difference. I'm gonna try to use some right beside my red orange that I put up here as a tester, okay? So let's see the difference. Okay? I really like this one as well, and looking at the image, I feel like I could definitely use this one as well. It's a little bit cooler of a red. When we look at the color wheel next week, you'll know what I mean by saying that this is a cool red. So it pulls more towards the blue side of the color wheel as opposed to the orange side of the color wheel, okay? So it's got a nice rich primary base to it. Okay, I might actually end up using this for the deeper red areas on his shield and in his gloves and on his boots. Okay, because if I test it out over here, again, now that it's dulled down, because I kind of tested out the color, I've kind of dulled down the tip, and this is perfect because now if I want to start coloring him light anywhere, it's going to give me that nice soft tip, right? See that? 2 seconds. Okay, and then I can kind of deepen the color by pressing soft still, but layering, right? Layering, layering, layering. And if you ever want to get super intense, that's when you can press harder and harder. Okay, remember pointillism when I said the value seems darker because there's less white coming out between the points? Same thing when you're coloring with your pencil crayon. If you're sloppy, which you should not be, okay, you're gonna have a lot of white space coming through your coloring. Even if you're neat, but you're pressing really, really lightly, okay, it's still got a little bit of white speckle coming through because you're pressing so lightly, right? The pencil crayon isn't necessarily hitting all of the surface of your paper. Paper that we draw on always has what we call tooth, which is that bumpy texture. It's almost microscopic texture. But basically, if you press really lightly with your pencil crayon, it's still allowing little tiny spots of white to come through. That's why it here is nice and soft and light, okay? So the more we layer it, the more of that white texture we cover up. So the color just looks slowly richer and richer and richer. And obviously, when you're adding a ton of pressure and you're coloring very, very dark, okay, it's pressing it so hard against the paper that it's literally covering all of the paper, all those little bumps and textures with that color, and it's super saturated. So that's basically the idea behind what you see getting darker and darker and darker. I really like this red. I think I'm going to stick with this red for his costume, and then I'm going to use the red orange for burnishing his face. Okay, but you are responsible for studying your reference image again, the one that you originally gridded, and testing out all of your colors. Keep on testing them and mixing them until you're happy with them so that you're not guessing and going to your good copy, okay?